तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा शील प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा शील प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परमहंस सदा से श्रीमद शेष भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON संस्थापक श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परमहंस सदा से श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद शंकर किशोरदास महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद सच्चिदानंद श्री भक्तिवेदांत ठाकुर की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद वैष्णव साहब श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबू महाराज के जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जी गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सर गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नवाचार्य दास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत दादा साधु गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महेश दर्शन भगवान की जय। श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगामयी की जय। यमुनामयी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्री हरनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ISKCON वर्तमान गुरुवंद की जय। समावेद भक्तवंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All goes to Shri Prabhupada की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्नान ज्ञानशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं श्रीमं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवां श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च He Krishna Karunasnando Dinapanto Jagatpade Upesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kantan Mostade Taptakan Chanakavrangi Radhem Davaneshwari Vishamaniste Devi Panamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupescha Kvasnubhe Evacha Patata Nampavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I would like to welcome you all to this today morning class on Tuesday. Today I've been asked to speak on the pastimes or teachings from Lord Sri Rama, as the next Sunday, the coming Sunday, we'll be celebrating Sri Ram Navami. So Ramayana is very long. It will not be possible to cover in 45 or 50 minutes. But I have taken some important points on which I will try to speak on. What I have done is, it's not on a sequence, but it's on a personality wise, like Rama, Lakshmana, Sita Devi, etc. And some pastime from each one of them. So, as I mentioned before also, the Lord appears whenever there is a decline in religious principles. And he also appears to protect his devotees and annihilate the demons. So actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on a tour of South India, and he started from Puri, and thereafter from there he went on a long tour of the South India, and his mission was to propagate the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So he sang a very nice sloka, which you all might have heard of, but nevertheless I thought I will recite today. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila 7.96. He says, Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Ravakava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. So this is how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled singing this nice verse. He made devotees to chant because he also appeared to protect his devotees and make people chant the holy name of the Lord. That is the Yuga Dharma of this age. The translation for this particular sloka is, O Lord Krishna, please protect me and maintain me. O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. O Krishna, killer of the Kesi demon, please maintain me. The point is that Krishna is the only protector and he is the only maintainer. Another nice thing with relevance to this is that Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake Ke. If Krishna wants to protect someone, nobody can kill him. And if Krishna wants to kill someone, nobody can protect him. So as in all other pastimes, we see even in this particular pastime as Lord Rama, the Lord protected his devotees and annihilated the demons. Now, just as a king or a president is always accompanied by his associates, the Lord also appeared along with his associates. He appeared along with his quadruplet expansion. The Lord has quadruplet expansion, that is Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And in this pastime, the Lord appeared with all the four expansions. That means the Lord himself was Vasudeva, Lakshmana was Sankarshana, Bharata was Pradyumna and Shatrughna as Aniruddha. Sita Devi is the internal potency of the Lord, and she is none other than the expansion of Srimati Radharani. So the Lord appeared with his full opulence, and in our Sampradaya, actually Solness Bhanu Maharaj mentioned in a couple of classes that there are three very important incarnations which we can understand. The first is Krishna, who is the origin of all the incarnations, followed by Lord Rama, followed by Narasimhadeva. These are the three important incarnations. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, but these are very three important incarnations that what he mentioned. And in each of these incarnations, there is something or other that we can take home and for us to learn. Now, another important point is that of the three, Krishna is called the Leela Purushottam. Rama was known as the Maryada Purushottam, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as the Prem Purushottam, because Mahaprabhu was distributing love of Godhead. Krishna performed Leelas, so he was known as Leela Purushottam, and Rama was known as Maryada Purushottam. It is said that in the earthly planet, in the Ramayana itself, there are about 1 lakh verses, whereas in the heavenly planets, there are 100 crores of verses in Ramayana. And that is because the denizens of heaven are always engaged in hearing and chanting the verses from Ramayana. So now we'll go to the next level, that is understanding a little bit of each of these personalities. Now Rama, actually Dasharatha had 3 wives. Kaushalya, from whom Lord Rama was born, Kaikeyi, from whom Bharata was born, and Sumitra, from whom Lakshmana and Shatrughna were born. And all are Vishnu Tattvas. The citizens actually wanted Rama to be coronated as the king, as it was an embodiment of all the good qualities. And though he was very learned, he was very respectful, very gentle, kind, humble in front of all the seniors. He was very respectful to all, with compassion and love, and there was no false pride in him. And he lived by the highest standard of morality. Now, if you see, in the material world, if we come across somebody with all these qualities which I mentioned, he would be very, very puffed up. Nobody would be there who would be very humble. But in spite of all these qualities, Lord Rama was very, very gentle, very kind and humble, respectful to all the seniors. That is how he was. Not only that, he was a very obedient son and also a very obedient disciple. And he played a very perfect role. He was a perfect husband, a perfect son, a perfect brother, perfect king, perfect citizen. He could do everything perfect because he was the personality of Godhead himself. He also showed how, by example, the condition of a man who is attached to a woman. But in the case of Rama, it was not a material attachment like men might have for his wife or a fiancé or whatever it may be. But on the spiritual platform, it is known as Vipralamba, wherein by separation, the spiritual bliss increases. Actually, it's a very deep subject, so I will not touch on that today. Maybe on some other class, I will go on that. So this is how Lord Rama actually showed by example. And during his time, people used to call as Ram Rajya. And Srila Prabhupada many times emphasized how we need many leaders today like Lord Rama. And if leaders live by these principles, even today, it can become Rama Rajya. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned how this principle of Rama Rajya can make all the nations Krishna conscious, which is what is required today. Economic development and all those things will go on. Even during Lord Rama's time, there was no scarcity of anything. And Lord Rama wanted to show, and Srila Prabhupada always emphasized that here this is one good government. And Lord Rama was not agitated when he was asked to leave. the kingdom. In fact, he told when he was just about to leave the kingdom, he went and told Kaikeyi, "You should have told me directly to leave the kingdom. I would have left. Why did you have to go and speak to my father, King Dasharatha, to ask me to leave?" So this is how Lord Rama actually set an example. Apart from all these, Rama had an excellent bodily beauty, and his character, of course, will come into that. Dasharatha was very, very pleased, and this is how, when they were all, discussing very nicely between themselves, Vishwamitra Muni once comes, and when he comes, he asks King Dasharatha, "How is your conquest for birth and death?" Nowadays, when we go to somebody's house or somebody comes and meets us, the first question they ask is, "How are you? How are you?" And we say, "I'm fine, I'm fine." So, but that is not the question to be asked. Generally, the question to be asked is, "How is your conquest for birth and death?" So this is a very nice thing which I got. In the sense that this human life, I'm not going into detail, but the human life is meant to conquer over the cycle of birth and death. So Vishwamitra actually came asking for Rama to come and assist him in killing the demons. But then Dasharatha offered himself for this particular service. But Vishwamitra wanted only Lord Rama. But Dasharatha was not very much inclined, because initially he was attached for his son, Lord Rama. Now, generally, if we see, the parents want to give some, when a saintly person comes home, they want some sort of a blessing for their children to pass exam or things like that, but not for a child to become a devotee. This is a general thing. But that was not the case with Dasharatha. The entire family was all great devotees of the Lord. And the actual blessing that one should seek from a saintly person when he visits home is to become free from the cycle of birth and death, not to become prosperous materially. But unfortunately, today the parents are so possessive of their children that they try to control their children even after marriage. So Vasishtha meditated and thereafter consoled Dasharatha to give Lord Rama. But Lord Rama did not go alone. Then Lakshmana and Sita Devi also go along with him to the forest. One thing that is mentioned is that Lord Rama maintained some very good relationships. He was a perfect balance of relationships, which is very difficult in this material world, which is true. Generally, even after coming to devotional service, our relationships are always disturbed because we want position, power, and so many things. But Lord Rama was not like that. And Acharyas say that if we keep Krishna in the center without any material agenda, then there won't be any disagreement at all. It is said that when they were all in the forest, when they were just gone, Bharata wanted to bring back Lord Rama. So afterwards, Bharata left with a big army to bring back Lord Rama to the kingdom. And when Lakshmana saw this, he thought that Bharata has actually got the throne and now he is coming to attack Lord Rama. But Rama told Lakshmana, if you have a desire to take the throne, I will ask Bharata to give it to you. But actually he is coming to take me back to Ayodhya. So this is how, another very nice example where Lord Rama taught to Lakshmana. Now, Rama, Sita, Lakshmana and all, they all pass through the Dandakaranya forest after leaving Chitrakoot, and they go to the ashrams of various rishis. So actually the Lord showed by example that what is required in our human form of life is association with saintly persons. That is what is important in our life. Material blessings also they may give, but one should not ask for it. And it is the association with saintly personalities which can give perfection to our human form of life. So one must try to take association of sadhus, whether one is a newcomer to the movement or even if he is a very, very senior leader in the movement, because from beginning to the end of our spiritual life, it is only association with saintly persons which can help us. And it is said that there are so many saintly personalities, and each one excel in some or other quality. They all have very good qualities. And if one can take even a very, very small fraction of their qualities and apply in their life, that is what is called perfection. Not just simply associate with them, but of course, association with the devotees has got its own effect. But what is very important is take association from them, learn and apply whatever they have taught, and try to take whatever good is in them and apply it in our life, which can give, or they have a lot of good qualities. And if we take a small fraction of it also and apply in our life, then our life becomes perfect. Now, while they were going through the forest, Sita Devi actually saw Rama killing some deer. And from that, she asked him to stop killing the deer. And she gave 3 powerful lessons to Lord Rama. Not that Lord Rama was not knowing about it, but then the Lord utilized Sita Devi to give these lessons. And she said, if you don't apply these 3 lessons in your life, that would bring one down from his position. And these 3 things are, one is false speech, second is sex with another's wife, and the third is cruelty towards others who are not inimical. See, very, very nice. She said, out of all these 3, the first one is false speech. And she said, told Rama that you don't have any false speech. You don't have a false pride. Then she said, you have already taken the vrata or a vow of a single wife. So, but one problem is you are killing innocent animals, which increase your killing propensity. So by killing animals, one becomes or tends to develop that attitude of killing animals, takes pleasure in that. So for this, she narrates a story how a Brahmana was given a sword by Indra and he fell down from his position. I will not go into the details of the pastime, but I'll just give an outline. Once Indra saw a Brahmana and was slightly puffed up. And so what Indra did was, he gave one sword. He said, you keep this with you. I'll come and take it from you. So this Brahmana saw the sword. It was very, very nice, attractive, shining and all those things. And he just went to the out of his house, and there were some plants. He just showed and he saw some, but just by turning it from left to right, right to left and all these things, some branches got cut off. And from that, he was so much attracted by seeing that branches of the plant or tree getting cut off. He got so much overwhelmed that he finally started killing some insects by swinging the sword, and then to human beings. And a Brahmana is not supposed to do that. So it brought him down from that position. So similarly, it is said that any sinful activity from the above 3 can bring one down from his position. She even said that the Lord should not kill even innocent Rakshasas when they are passing through the forest. And in fact, the Lord appreciated the advice given by Sita Devi, saying that it was because of her love for Lord Rama that she gave him this advice. And this killing other living entities is in the mode of passion, and it can pull down anyone through any means. And this is what happens. At one time, Rama and Lakshmana, they were passing through the ashram where Shabri was residing. And immediately by seeing them, she offered water to wash their feet, lotus feet, and offered them food and drink. She took both of them on a tour. So though it is not mentioned in the books of Ramayana given in ISKCON, but nevertheless it is stated by great devotees of the mood in which actually she tasted. You might have heard this pastime. She used to taste berries, jamun, and then give it to the Lord. Whereas normally the practice is we offer to the Lord and then honor that as prasadam, mahaprasadam, whatever it is. But the Lord used to still accept it, even though she used to taste it and give. That shows that the Lord accepted, and that is why he is known as Bhavagrahi Janardana. The Lord performs these pastimes to relish his relationships or relish the loving relationships with his devotees. And Shabri was one of them. We go to the next personality, who is none other than Sita Devi. Now, we'll go a little more into this. One day it is said that a beautiful girl with matted hair and wearing a deer skin was walking around the forest in the Himalayas. That is when actually Ravana saw, he asked her, who was she? And what was her purpose of roaming around? And she replied that her name was Vedavati, and that her father refused many demigods. She was so beautiful that many demigods proposed to marry her. But even demigods who came asking for marriage, who thought that only Vishnu would be the most suitable, but they all thought Vishnu would be the most suitable personality for that. So she said, I have installed Lord Vishnu in my heart, and I have been performing austerities to have Vishnu. She also said that my mystic prowess, I know who you are and your intentions. So Ravana got down from his chariot and he said, you become my wife. Who is Vishnu in comparison with me? So, Ravana was very, very proud and puffed up. And to which she replied, who other than you would dare to speak like this? I mean, nobody else can speak like this unless until he's a demon. So hearing this, Ravana got very, very angry, and he grabbed her by her hair, and then immediately she transformed one of her arms to a sword and cut off her hair and set herself free. And Vedavati said, after having been touched by you, I now no longer desire to live. But if I curse you by merit, if I curse you, my merit will reduce you. But instead, I will take birth again in a divine manner, and that will bring your destruction. So this is how she cursed him. Then Vedavati then entered the fire, and from heaven, flowers were showered by the demigods, denizens of heaven. Vedavati then appeared from a lotus flower, but utilizing her mystic power. In the meantime, Ravana would travel everywhere, and wherever he saw beautiful virgin girls, he would kidnap them and take them away in his chariot. And they cursed him, saying, may the destruction of this wicked man come about because of a woman. So he was a curse from almost all the women there. Now it is said that Ravana actually crossed the ocean. We all know that Ravana kidnapped Sita, and he crossed the ocean and took Sita into her palace. Now, before I go into this pastime, the previous lesson that we can take from the previous pastime of Vedavati is that it becomes easily allured in this material world by seeing the beauty of the opposite sex. This is what happened to Ravana also. So Ravana got attracted by the beauty of seeing Sita Devi also, and then he kidnapped Sita and took her to Lanka. So when he was crossing the ocean, he told her, he went to Lanka, he kept her in under a forest, and he told his servants to give her the best of clothing, food, etc. Ravana took Sita Devi on a tour of his palace and gave her some very nice, pleasing talks, thinking that, he'll be able to win over her. But she responded very angrily. She said, you will be doomed to death at the hands of Lord Rama. And hearing this, Ravana got very, very angry. And he told Sita Devi, I will give you 12 months to surrender to me. And at the end of 12 months, if you still resist, my cooks will cut you into pieces and serve you in my breakfast as my breakfast. Saying this, Ravana took her to that Ashoka Grove, which was a beautiful garden filled with many, many trees and bearing fruits and flowers. But the point in this lesson is that Sita Devi was firmly fixed on Lord Rama, and she was very, very determined. And determination is one thing that helped her throughout in this particular pastime, which is what we can learn. She did not get carried away by seeing the palatial opulence and things like that of Ravana. Then, now when Sita Devi was kidnapped, Brahma once called Indra. He said that Sita Devi has been kidnapped and taken to Lanka, and this will bring the destruction of all the Rakshasas. But the only problem is Sita Devi might die due to, or might leave the body due to separation from Rama. This is another point which I mentioned, Vipralamba. In spiritual relationships, one feels more due to separation than due to association. So Brahma also says that Sita might leave her body due to separation from Rama. And he told Indra, I want you to go and give this heavenly sweet rice. We'll understand from this. Indra then went along with Nitra Devi. And when they both went, they put all the, Sita Devi was surrounded by so many Rakshasis. So Nitra Devi put all these Rakshasas to sleep, and they went to Sita Devi in the form of a Brahmana. And Indra told Sita, I am Indra, the king of heaven, and I have come to assist Lord Rama. Please take this celestial rice, and that will make you immune to hunger, thirst, and other bodily miseries in the years to come. Like we can't live without eating. Forget one day, even one time, if we don't eat, we have a lot of problems. But the celestial rice is something that can make one immune to hunger, thirst, etc. So but Sita Devi actually thought that who could this person be? She wanted Indra to show his real form, and then he showed her his form, and she saw that his feet did not touch the ground, and that is when she was convinced that it was Indra himself. Then she offered the rice to Lord Rama and Lakshmana, and then ate it, after which she became freed from all the bodily pains. That is when Indra and Nidra Devi left. So this is one good thing that was there. Now, Sita Devi's appearance. The background is that Sita Devi appeared from a furrow as the land was being plowed by King Janaka. He accepted the girl as his daughter, and when she was playing in the garden along with her friends, she saw a charming pair of parrots. When we see parrots, we also get attracted. And they were talking about the woman called Sita and a man named Rama. And then when Sita heard this, she asked her friends to bring the parrots to her. And when they brought them, she asked them, which Sita are you talking about? The parrot explained about the future pastimes of Rama and Sita that they heard from Valmiki Ashram. So Sita asked the parrots to remain with her, but they declined, saying that they are used to living in the forest. They are not used to living in a house or a palace. Then the female parrot informed Sita that she was pregnant and she would return after the birth of her children. The parrot was pregnant. But Sita Devi would not release that female parrot, and the male parrot asked Sita Devi to release his wife. But Sita Devi asked the female to remain with her and that the male can go. But the male refused to go, and the male cursed Sita Devi. It's a pastime, saying that as you are separating me from my husband, in the same way, you will be separated from Lord Rama when you are pregnant. And saying this, the female parrot actually gave up her life. Then the male parrot said that in this city, I will be born as a Shudra, and it will be because of my words that Sita will experience separation from her husband. The male parrot took birth as a washerman, Krodana. So this, actually by this pastime, we learned that the law of karma, Sita Devi actually withheld the female parrot, and which left her body. And the male parrot then cursed her that she should be feeling the same separation from her husband as Rama. So this is something about the law of karma. Another important point is that women should always be protected. It is said that there are many men like Ravana who are always on the lookout for opportunities to exploit women. So women cannot protect themselves, but they need the help of a man to protect them. So that is why it is said that women can never be independent. They should be dependent on their husband. A woman is dependent on her father when she's small, then on her husband when she gets married, and after the husband gets married, she depends on her son. Another important point is that Sita got carried away by seeing a beautiful deer. So it is said that Marisha, demon, he took the form of a beautiful golden deer, and this was on the instruction of Ravana. And he started running around Sita Devi. When Sita Devi was plucking flowers from a forest, and when she saw the beauty of the deer, she got bewildered, and she wanted the deer somehow or the other. But Lakshmana said, this is a Rakshasa in the form of a deer. And in spite of that, Lakshmana persuading Sita Devi, she would not, she was insistent on Rama to bring that deer alive if possible. In Ayodhya, particularly those days, the deer was very, very attractive, and she wanted Rama to bring that deer and not kill the deer. Rama also saw the deer, and he also got carried away by seeing its beauty. And he told Lakshmana that you please take care of Sita, and I will go and bring that deer. Because Sita was insistent, Lord Rama wanted to please her by bringing that deer. So actually Lord Rama went deep into the forest, and he tried to catch the deer alive. But then when it was not possible, then Rama sat underneath the tree as he was tired. And again the deer came towards him. And this time the Lord picked up his arrow and shot at it. And by leaving the body, the deer took the form of a Rakshasa. And then that is how Rama realized as to how Lakshmana actually forbade him from going to running after the deer. Actually, when Lord Rama was running towards to catch the deer, Lakshmana said, please don't go, this could be a Rakshasa. And then when the deer was just about to leave the body, the dying deer called out in Rama's voice. Actually, the deer called out in Rama's voice, hey Lakshman, hey Sita. So the demons play tricks like this even before dying. They don't think that they should stop because they are dying. Even before dying, they play these tricks. When they live, it is said they are a nuisance, and even when they are dying, they are a nuisance. So when the deer screamed, hey Lakshmana, hey Sita, that means they cried out in the form of the noise of Lord Rama. So when Lord Rama heard this noise, immediately he ran towards Sita Devi and Lakshmana. Then Sita also asked Lakshmana, you go and help, maybe Ram is in danger. And Lakshmana knew that, and he told her that don't worry, nothing will happen to Lord Rama. But Lakshmana knew Rama's instruction. Rama actually told Lakshmana that you take care of Sita Devi and you don't leave her even for a moment. Lakshmana knew Rama's instruction, so he did not listen to Sita Devi. He was very, very stubborn. But what happened was, Sita Devi used some very, very harsh words. That is why it is said that Maya can take any form. Even Sita got bewildered, Bharat Maharaj got bewildered, and even it is said that we may get bewildered by our dear ones. Let us hear this conversation about Sita and Lakshmana. Sita Devi said, why do you stand here? Do you want Rama to die? No, I can understand that you are the enemy of your elder brother, waiting for him to die so that you can enjoy me as you like. Go quickly. What is the use of my living if my husband's life is in danger? So she thought actually that Lakshmana was not going because it is, if once Rama dies, then Lakshmana can marry her and enjoy her. So this is what was in her mind. But Lakshmana said, there is no demigod or a demon who can bring any harm to Rama. And that voice that you heard is none other than the demon Maricha. Rama ordered me to protect you, and I will obey his order and stay here. So Lakshmana was very, very determined to stay there and protect Sita Devi. But on hearing Lakshmana's words, actually Sita should have got consoled. But what happened was she became more angry, and she said to Lakshmana, You shameless, wicked man. You are enjoying Rama's misfortune. I can understand all this time how you are pretending to be Rama's humble servant. You came to the forest so that you can kill Rama at an opportune time and fulfill your lusty desires to enjoy me. Do you think I will accept you after being Rama's wife? I will die before that. So this is how actually Sita Devi used some very, very strong words to Lakshmana. And Lakshmana was very, very angry on hearing this because he was not of that personality. He said, "You are like a deity to me. I cannot speak so harshly the way you have spoken today. I know that it is the nature of women to create discord amongst friends. Women are hard-hearted when they become obsessed with their desires. They even give up all sense of morality." So this is how Sita Devi actually told Lakshmana that men are like this. And Lakshmana reacted by saying that women are very, very hard-hearted when they are obsessed with their desires. They give up even all sense of morality. Then he said, "You have goaded me with such sharp words, and so I shall go to Rama. But I see some terrible omens. I feel that when I return with Rama, we will no longer find you here." So Lakshmana actually could foresee what was going to happen. He knew that nothing can happen to Lord Rama, but he also realized that if he goes to look after Rama, Sita will be missing by then, but she did not hear. So though Lakshmana tried to console Sita Devi, she didn't, and he became very angry due to her strong words. And because of that, she left in search of Rama. So it is said that a woman can use her voice, which is very, very powerful. Now, this voice of a woman can both be used positively or even in a negative situation. For example, it is said that Dhruva Maharaj, when he was a small boy, he was looking for God, and his mother's voice actually drove him to go to the forest. But here, the way Sita Devi used her voice against Lakshmana, Lakshmana was feeling very, very hurt. So this is what happens. That's why it is said that a woman should be very careful in using her voice. In the meantime, what happened was, after killing Maricha, Rama also could see some bad omen, and he saw Lakshmana coming towards him, and he told Lakshmana, "How could you leave this Sita unprotected? And if something happens to Sita, then I will kill myself." Then Lakshmana told Rama as to how Sita Devi spoke some very, very harsh words, that he was forced to leave her to look for Rama. And then Rama said, "You should not have disobeyed my order. Simply being provoked by a woman's anger, you have made a great mistake by acting in a way that is unworthy of you." So this is how Rama also chastised Lakshmana. So it is said, the conclusion of this particular pastime is that even in devotional service, many times we can come across many misunderstandings, misgivings. Sometimes we can get blamed also for performing devotional service, but we should continue with our devotional service, whatever it may be. We should not become disappointed or disgruntled and leave. Either I've come here to serve the Lord, and here also there are so many problems. No, problems are there everywhere, but we must understand what is the way of perfection. So then what happens is that they both come to the cottage, and finally, not seeing Sita Devi, Rama became very, very morose, and with tears flowing from his eyes, he started asking all the trees, "Oh Kadamba, oh Bilva, have you seen my beloved Sita?" And after receiving no reply, then he started even asking the animals and birds. And when there was no response from them, then they started searching for her in the forest. During that trail, they came across the broken jewels and broken pieces of a chariot. Then seeing this, Rama got very, very angry. And he said, "If the demigods don't deliver Sita Devi to me, then as a revenge for their negligence, I will destroy the entire universe." So Rama also, though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he expressed so much of anger. Lakshmana actually tried to control Rama's anger by pacifying him, saying that this suffering in this material world is inevitable. But Rama did not get convinced. But then what happened was, he massaged his brother's lotus feet, and then Lord God pacified. So this is how, this is a pastime. So it is said that, before I conclude on Sita Devi, materialistic people always try to worship the goddess of fortune for attaining wealth without worshipping the Supreme Lord. And that is called a Ravana mentality, which is true. One should always worship Lakshmi Devi with Narayana, Lakshmi Narayana, Lakshmi Narsimha. One should never worship Lakshmi Devi alone. Otherwise, it is called a Ravana mentality. Another important personality in this is that Bharata. See, Kaikeyi wanted Bharata to be installed as a king in the throne. But when he came to know that his mother has played all the dirty tricks to expel Rama from his kingdom just to instill Bharata as the king, he rejected his own mother for her deeds. See, very rarely one will find, one has got a lot of respect and this thing for one's mother. But Bharata in this case rejected his own mother for her deeds. This is one example. Once again, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. See, just as some of you have been attending my Srimad Bhagavatam class on Tuesdays, where we are going through that 15th chapter as to how the Kumaras curse the two doormen Jaya and Vijaya. So this Jaya Vijaya had been cursed to go to appear in this material world, and they actually came in three forms. They came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, and the Lord killed them as Narasimhadev. Then they came as Ravana and Kumbhakarna in Lord Rama's pastime, and the Lord killed them. And then they came as Shishupal and Dantavakra in Krishna's pastimes. So this is how the two doormen, Jaya and Vijaya, came in these three particular forms. There is one pastime that when actually when they were crossing the ocean, Hanuman. I will skip a few pastimes of Hanuman because there may not be any time, but an important one which came to my mind, which I picked up, was that the whole of they were all building once Lord found out that Sita Devi was in Lanka, then he wanted to go with the entire army of monkeys. So the monkeys were building bridges to reach Lanka. So at one time, Hanuman was also carrying big boulders, and at that time, to throw into the ocean and to make this bridge. And he saw a squirrel, a small squirrel, kicking dust into the ocean. This squirrel was putting dust into the ocean. It wanted to help in building the bridge. Then Hanuman told the squirrel, "We are carrying big boulders, and what with your small dust can be done?" As soon as Hanuman saw this, Hanuman said this, Lord Rama appeared on that scene, and he told Hanuman, "Why are you saying this? Both are serving me, both are doing your best, and I consider both to be of the same value." That means, the important point is that the service of a poor man, devotional service, I'm talking about devotional service. The squirrel was also performing devotional service by throwing mud, and Hanuman as a monkey was all carrying big boulders. The conclusion is that which Rama was trying to give instruction was, the service of a poor man or a rich man, they are the same. What is more important is devotion to the Supreme Lord. Hanuman actually went looking for Sita Devi, and there when he went, actually Rama sent Hanuman looking for Sita Devi. So when Rama described how Sita Devi looks like and how you should look for her in Sri Lanka. So Rama described look for a woman who is a brahmachari, and in Ravana's palace he may see many beautiful women, all badly. Yeah, but when Hanuman went there. He saw so many beautiful women, and they were all clothes with badly placed and all them. Out of all of them, he had to recognize Sita Devi. But Lord Rama gave him a very difficult task. And it is said, but he had faith in Lord Rama and had Rama's blessings. So a difficult task like that also became very, very easy. And the example given is that even for Arjuna to kill his relatives in the battlefield was very, very difficult. But Krishna guided him. Similarly, Hanuman was guided by Rama's advice and he could identify Sita Devi. So it is said that as long as one is guided by the Lord or his representatives, one need not be worried about his spiritual life. Before I conclude, I would like to give one pastime of Jatayu. Now, Sita seeks a lot of help when she is being kidnapped by Rama. And Jatayu was very, very old at that time. It is said that he is thousands of years of old when she seeks his help. But immediately he sees an opportunity to serve her. He never thought that he is old. Jatayu did not think of his age or limitation, but rather he risked his life and fought till the end. And it is said that Ravana threw Jatayu, at that age, Jatayu threw Ravana on the ground. That was the power of his devotional service. And his enthusiasm stopped all the obstacles. So what could sustain Jatayu was his enthusiasm to perform devotional service. And finally, when Ravana could not save from Jatayu's onslaught, he hit Jatayu with a sword. And Jatayu's body was torn to pieces and he lay down bleeding. So the point is that even Jatayu was prepared to give up his life to protect Sita Devi at that age. And when Rama came and when he saw Jatayu, and he said, there is Lakshmana. When Rama and Lakshmana pass through the forest, they see Jatayu. Rama tells Lakshmana that the pain he feels by seeing the condition of Jatayu giving up the body is more than the pain that he is feeling out of separation from Sita Devi. Then, out of his indebtedness, the Lord performed the final rites of Jatayu and sends him to Vaikuntha. The point here, the conclusion is, though Jatayu failed in his mission, he succeeded. Jatayu could not save Sita Devi, but it is said he succeeded in his mission. So similarly, many times we can put our efforts, and when we don't see results, we might become morose or disappointed. So different dynamics work in our different devotional service, but what matters is not the result of the devotional service, but the mode in which we perform devotional service. So that is very, very important. So with this, I will conclude the class for the day. Maybe one point I can add about Kaikeyi. It is said that Kaikeyi was actually very, very devoted to Lord Rama. But what happens is that due to her bad association with Mantra, her servant, she became demoniac in nature in no time. And it is said that this can happen to us also. So we should be very careful in whom we associate with, what is their character, etc. So with this, I conclude the class for the day. So anybody has got any questions, comments? For the next few days, you might hear Ram Katha until Ram Navami. So there might be sometimes repetition, sometimes you might get different learnings from the same pastimes. So in today, whatever I have spoken, if you have any questions, comments, you can ask me.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, like all this Leela, what Ram did,
yes,
so much of trouble, so much of grievances everywhere.
Yes, can you speak a little louder because your voice is low. I don't know why.
What does it demonstrate? Like Rama did all this, like, so much of struggle, so much of going forest 14 years and losing Sita and everything. All this shows that he was never happy. Like, what did it symbolize? Like
that actually shows, if you go through the entire Ramayana, Lord actually wanted to show that this material world is nothing but a struggle. That is what we must also understand. Material world is nothing but a struggle for life. I mean, one may be opulent, one need not be opulent. But irrespective of whatever it is, material life and material body is nothing but a struggle. I don't know whether you could take this, but this is what Acharya has explained. Material world is nothing but a struggle for existence. And you see anybody's life as an example in the material world, it is a struggle for existence. Even if he's a very opulent person, he may be struggling for existence. That is what it's about. And one who should be sensible enough or intelligent enough to understand this. That is very important. Not only understand, but having realized, yes, this material world is a struggle, then one should start thinking, what should be my next step? What should I do to get out of this material world? And the Lord has given solution. And Lord Rama's pastime is one of those.
Yes, Prabhu. Like,
yes.
I feel it also demonstrates how should one live, isn't it, Prabhu? How should one have family, the rest
yes,
should live?
Yes. Many things, if you see, we discussed today. One is attachment to women, attachment to children, attachment to wealth. Rama did not show anything. He did not show attachment to Sita Devi, though of course he expressed grief after Sita Devi was kidnapped. But which I mentioned is called Vipralamba Bhava, separation in union, which is supposed to be more higher than in union. And it's a different subject, so we'll discuss on that some other time. And he showed, yes, he was a king, but he had to struggle. And there were misunderstandings between him and Lakshmana when Sita Devi was kidnapped. But still, Lakshmana did not give up Lord Rama. Bharata did not give up Rama. So if we live, it is said that if we live by the religious principles established by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we also can live a better life. But if we become an atheist, then the struggle for existence is more. We should not think that it is very easy. It's much more harder with as an atheist.
Yes, Prabhu, it's very clear, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Moreover, like these three, Jay Vijaya took 3 avatars, and all this is for Krishna's enjoyment. This is Prabhu, like he wanted to have a fight, and like all these things are happening as a symbolic to understand how one person should live and how God is powerful and everything. Isn't it, Prabhu?
Yes, and it is also said that this Jaya Vijaya came as Jagai and Mother in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So Lord uses his associates to teach many lessons to conditioned souls like us.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anyone else? So if there are no questions or comments, Prabhu, can I take the class as closed? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Prabhuji. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise,
yes, Prabhuji. If there are no questions, we can end the session.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Shri Ram Katha ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki.